Today we are looking at the brand new Wave 3 of the Sonic Movie 3 toy line by Jakks Pacific. Well, not fully because I couldn't find Knuckles, only these three. And honestly, in this video, we are really only going to focus on Super Shadow and Gerald, as these are the main attractions of this wave. Because the Sonic and Knuckles are the same figures, just with accessories. Sonic comes with a Master Emerald that I think is reused from the Sonic 2 Super Sonic, and Knuckles comes with flames on his fist, which is actually really freaking sick. And shout out to VT Stop Motions, showing that they are removable, so that's great, and I definitely recommend them over the regular as it's the same price and comes with accessories. But as I've said in this review, we are focusing on these two, so let's get this review started.
Professor?
It's good to see you, Shadow. I knew you'd come home.
I can't get her out of my head. The pain. It's too much.
And that is why we have to punish them.
The figures come packaged in the same style that every release in this line comes in. We can see both of the figures inside the packaging, and here's how they look from the top, the sides, and then the bottom. And here's the barcodes for those of you who want to hunt for these figures. The back of the box shows off the figures fully and has a bio about who they are. And the bottom also shows off the rest of the figures in the wave. Overall, it's cool packaging and it's typical from this line. So, with all that being said, let's unbox them. And after really gently unboxing each figure with the utmost care, I was able to tell that Jakks Pacific has cooked yet again in this line. Starting off with Super Shadow, he looks amazing. The coloring is pretty spot on with how it looks in the movie, with his super form being a lighter yellow compared to Sonic's more gold color, and I love it. There are tiny little sparkles all throughout the figure that help a ton with making him look like he's really powered up. Sadly though, despite the great color and with his super form, I do have some issues with the other areas that are painted. Like, the red paint on his quills is done pretty well, but it has some sloppy areas on the side of his face, which low-key sucks. And even on my box copy, has some issues with red paint. So I definitely recommend checking your copies at the store for any paint errors. And speaking of errors, around his eyes there's some little extra plastic or glue that's there. It's not like crazy noticeable, but it is there and it might bother some people. Which, looking at my box copy, it doesn't have this issue entirely, but there is something going on with one of its eyes in the same area. So, once again, check the copies at your store to make sure you're getting one with good quality. But if you order online, then just hope for the best. And there's also a few other areas that have some sloppy paint as well. But besides that, those are my only gripes and nitpicks with this figure, as everything else is great. Amazing detail in the sculpt work and great likeness to the movie. Also, it's finally great to have a regular Super Shadow and not one that has a light up gimmick. Which, I mean, the light up gimmick is cool, but it does sacrifice some of its looks in my opinion, as it has the button on his chest and all the extra stuff on his head, as well as the battery pack on his back. So, it's great that we have a good looking Super Shadow. And then for Gerald Robotnik,
It's impossible.
Is it?
It couldn't be.
Couldn't it?
Are you? In the saggy flesh.
I think he looks pretty good. It's not perfect, but I mean for $15, the likeness is fairly well. His face resembles how he does in the movie, with his big old nose, bushy brows, and crazy stash. Then he has his bald head, which literally looks like a real bald head. They gave this guy's head bald texturing with all the skin and stuff, and it's low-key nasty, but accurate, I guess. Then he is in his attire that he wore in the movie, which looks good. It's detailed pretty well, and he even has his doctor badge with his name and photo, which is a really nice touch, as the badge is pretty damn small. Then he has his watch on. It's painted pretty decent, but it definitely could be better. Then he's wearing his pants, which have nice wrinkling in them, and then his shoes look nice and are well detailed. So overall, the look of this figure is good for what it is. And one thing about this figure that caught me by surprise is the fact that his jacket is a soft plastic material, so it has some move and give to it. Which is nice, as it gives the figure a low-key premium feel, and it helps not limit articulation, which, spoiler alert, the articulation really isn't that great, but right now we're talking about the look, and it's good. So yeah, both of these figures overall look pretty good, and I'm quite pleased with them. Now, earlier you seen that Sonic comes with a Chaos Emerald, and Knuckles has some fire effects, which is dope, but sadly neither Super Shadow or Gerald come with anything, which is understandable since these figures are $15 and are insanely good by themselves. But now that they are having figures with accessories, I would like these figures to have some. Like Gerald could have came with some kind of gadget, and Shadow could have came with some kind of Chaos Blast effect piece or something. But it's not like a big deal, as I have plenty of stuff at my disposal to use with these guys, so it's fine. And I'm not that upset, as the real selling point with these figures is actually the articulation. Well, not Gerald. I really only think his selling point is the fact that he's the only Gerald figure ever, but Shadow's is definitely his posability. Super Shadow has some great articulation. To start off with, his head is on a ball peg so it can look up, down, and all around just fine. Which is amazing because a light up Shadow couldn't do any of this, so it's great to have a Super Shadow with some head movement. Then his arms can go up pretty far, but sadly one of mine is stuck and doesn't want to go up at all, so I'm probably going to give it a hot water bath or something. Then he has a butterfly joint, which helps the arms move around a lot, then go this far forwards and then this far backwards. Then he has a bicep swivel, single jointed elbows that bend this far, and great wrist articulation as it can rotate and hinge forwards and backwards. And then the hands have a knuckle joint so the fingers can move. Shadow then has a waist joint that allows his body to twist and get a tiny bit of forwards and backwards motion. Then his legs kick this far forwards, this far backwards, and this far outwards. He has a thigh swivel, knees that can bend this far, and pretty good ankle articulation as allows the feet to go up and down and get a decent rocker. So yeah, Shadow's articulation is great and allows him to hit so many cool poses. Also, it is exactly the same as a regular Shadow, so if you have him, then you know what to expect. And as for Gerald, it's not as good. His head can only look side to side, his arms can only go up this far, he has a bicep swivel, single jointed elbows that bend this far, and wrist articulation that can rotate and hinge forwards and backwards some. Now, obviously looking at this guy, you'd expect no torso articulation, and you'd be right as there isn't any. Only a waist joint that twists and allows the figure to lean forwards and backwards some. Then, his legs don't kick far forwards, they go this far backwards and pretty far outwards. He has a thigh swivel, single jointed knees that bend right at 90 degrees, and ankle articulation that is pretty decent. So overall with Gerald, you're not going to get anything crazy out of him, which is honestly fine and expected. Because come on, he's an old ass man. But if they did make him in his dance suit, then I'd expect some crazy articulation engineering, because he'd be getting it in that scene. So yeah, Shadow's articulation is good, while Gerald's is mid. And then for those of you who want to see how these figures scale next to the rest of the line, here you go. Shadow scales fine, but Gerald obviously doesn't as he's too small. Now, if you take everyone out but Gerald and Ivo, then this looks fine. Grandson and grandfather having a good old time. And maybe even busting a move or two. I don't know. And then for Super Shadow, here he is just next to Super Sonic, and this kicks ass. Finally, a regular Super Shadow and Super Sonic release pose up next to each other looking awesome. Then for some random comparisons, here they are next to the Sonic Movie Drink Toppers, which Gerald scales pretty well with these. Here they are next to Little Shadow, here they are next to Nendoroid Shadow, here they are next to Jazzware Shadow, here they are next to Demoniacal Fit Goku, and lastly, here they are next to Storm Collectibles Yujiro Hanma. So overall, I think this is a good wave. It allows those who miss out on the regular Sonic and Knuckles to get them, but with extra accessories for the same price, which is peak. But low-key ass, because someone was paid $15 for Sonic and Knuckles, and they come with nothing, and now they do this. So that sucks. So I definitely recommend getting the Wave 3 Knuckles and Sonic over the regular, as those figures actually come with accessories and are the same price as the regular. And then for Gerald, he's cool, and they did a good job with him. He's definitely really wacky and funny to pose, which is great because that's how he is in the movie. And then for the star of this wave, Super Shadow, he's peak. He looks beautiful and poses great. Easily tied for first in this line with Super Sonic. So yeah, $15 for these figures is great and you can't beat it. They're at Walmarts and Targets now, so go there now. And here's the barcode again so that you can ask a worker for help if you don't see them. Good luck finding them and happy hunting. And that is it for this one. Thank you to all you who watched this video, I highly appreciate it, and don't forget, the SH Zoro giveaway is still happening, so click on the link in the description to see how to join. I'll see y'all in the next one, peace.